They told you that progress was sweat-soaked miles on a machine that leads nowhere, that health was measured in the endurance to simply keep going. But what if the true measure of a well-built life isn't just about how long you can last, but how much you can overcome? Most people will ignore this fundamental shift in thinking. 99% will miss the final part where this all connects. And understanding that final piece is the difference between building a life of true foundational strength and just running in place until your time is up. Endless motion. There is a certain story we have been told about what it means to be healthy, to be fit. It's a story written on treadmills, on endless paved roads, on stationary bikes that stare at a wall. It is the story of motion. The philosophy is simple. To avoid decay, one must keep moving. To outrun your fork, to burn away your excesses, to sweat out your anxieties. And so we run. We chase a calorie deficit like it's a finish line. We see the heart rate monitor as a measure of our virtue for the day. And in this endless pursuit, we become very, very good at enduring. We learn to withstand the monotony, the rhythmic pounding of foot on belt, the dull ache in our lungs. We believe we are building resilience. But are we? Or are we simply building a tolerance for running in place? The psychological state of long-duration cardio is one of maintenance, of stasis. Its entire purpose is to prevent a slide, to keep things from getting worse. It is fundamentally a defensive posture against life. It is the practice of outrunning the wolf, but never learning how to face it, to stand your ground, and to build a fortress it cannot possibly breach. There's a subtle deception in this narrative of endurance. It equates effort with progress, but they are not the same thing. You can pour hours of effort onto an elliptical, end up drenched and exhausted, and be fundamentally the same organism you were when you started, just slightly more depleted. The activity itself sends a very specific signal to your body. Become more efficient. Learn to do this with less energy, less material, less substance. Your body, in its infinite wisdom, adapts by becoming a lighter, more streamlined version of itself. It sheds the unnecessary weight, and in the context of pure endurance, dense muscle is often seen as unnecessary weight. It is expensive tissue to maintain. The signal is not to become stronger, but to become better at running away. And so the body obliges. While this has its place, and a healthy cardiovascular system is a non-negotiable cornerstone of a good life, a life built entirely on this principle is a life of managed retreat. It's a house whose owner only ever works to patch the roof, but never reinforces the foundation. Eventually, a storm comes that no amount of patching can withstand. This philosophy bleeds into the rest of our existence. We apply the cardio mindset to our problems, our careers, our relationships. We learn to just keep going. We endure stressful jobs, draining relationships, and a lack of profound purpose by simply putting one foot in front of the other, hoping to outlast the difficulty. We mistake this endurance for strength. We spend our days running, managing, offsetting, and burning off the pressures of our life instead of fundamentally changing our capacity to handle them. We are so focused on the motion, on the act of not stopping, that we fail to realize we are not actually moving forward. We are on a great hamster wheel of our own design, celebrating the revolutions per minute, unaware that our position in the room has not changed. The promise was that if we just ran hard enough and long enough, we would find a different state of being. But the truth is, the running itself preserves the state of being you are so desperately trying to escape. True change requires a different kind of stressor entirely. It requires a force that doesn't ask you to run, but asks you to stand your ground and push back. The hormonal story of chronic cardio is also one of management, not of growth. While it offers a valuable release of feel-good hormones in the short term, prolonged sessions can signal a state of chronic stress. Your body, perceiving this long, grueling effort as a crisis, a famine, a persistent threat, can begin to operate from a place of elevated stress hormones. This is the hormonal signal of survival, not of thriving. It's the chemistry of getting through it. This is not the signal of building. It's the signal of hunkering down and weathering the storm. In a world full of storms, a body that is only ever trained to weather them will eventually be worn down to its foundations. What we truly seek is not the ability to endure the storm, but to become the storm ourselves, a force of nature that is not so easily battered by the winds of circumstance. This requires a new story, a new philosophy, a new form of physical practice that teaches a lesson not of endurance, but of power, bearing weight. Now imagine a different room. In this room, there is no machine designed for endless, repetitive motion. There is only you, the floor, and an object of immense and unapologetic weight, an iron bar. This object does not ask you to run from it. It does not ask you to endure it for hours. It asks for only one thing, for you to pick it up, to overcome its stillness, to impose your will upon it for a few brief, focused, all-consuming moments. This is the language of strength training. It is not a conversation about maintenance. It is a conversation about transformation. It is not defensive. It is assertive. The act of lifting a heavy weight from the ground is a profound statement. It is a declaration that you will not just manage the resistance in your life, but that you will actively seek it out, engage with it, and become fundamentally stronger by conquering it. This is a posture of offense. This is the act of building. Every repetition, every set sends a signal to your body that is the polar opposite of the signal from the treadmill. It says, we are not just surviving, we are growing. We must become more than we are. The beauty of strength training lies in its brutal honesty. The weight does not care about your feelings, your excuses, or your day. It is an impartial judge of your current capacity. You either lift it or you do not. There is no negotiation. And in this honest, humbling exchange, you discover the mechanism of all real growth in life, progressive overload. To get stronger, you cannot do the same thing over and over. You must consistently ask more of yourself. You must add another small plate to the bar. You must fight for one more repetition. You must challenge the boundary of what you thought was possible. This principle is the very blueprint for a successful life. In your career, in your intellect, in your character, you do not grow by staying comfortable. You grow by taking on the project that seems just beyond your reach, by reading the book that challenges your worldview, by having the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. You grow by seeking and overcoming resistance. Lifting weights is the physical practice of this universal law. It trains the body, yes, but more importantly, it trains the mind to see resistance not as an obstacle to be avoided, but as the raw material of your own becoming. This is why strength training has such a profound impact on the human spirit. It is a visible, tangible, and immediate feedback loop of your own growing competence. You see the numbers on the plates go up. You feel your own body become denser, more solid, more capable. This creates a powerful psychological shift. You begin to walk through the world not as someone who hopes to avoid burdens, but as someone who is confident in their ability to carry them. This is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you have voluntarily faced and overcome physical struggle. It recalibrates your perception of difficulty. The annoying inconveniences of daily life seem smaller. The daunting challenges seem more manageable. You have a physical, visceral memory of successfully battling gravity and winning again and again. That memory becomes a part of you. It becomes a belief. This is entirely different from the psychological benefit of cardio, which is often about clearing your head or escaping. This is about building it. It builds mental resilience, self-esteem, and a foundational sense of agency over your own life. Furthermore, the hormonal response to intense resistance training is one of building and empowerment. Short, intense bouts of heavy lifting have been shown to stimulate the release of hormones associated with growth and strength. Unlike the potential catabolic breaking down state of excessive cardio, strength training creates an anabolic building up environment. It tells your body to build, to repair, to become more formidable. Your body doesn't just burn calories after a lifting session, it increases its metabolic rate for hours, even days, as it uses energy to repair and build new muscle tissue. You are not just expending energy, you are investing it in a stronger future version of yourself. You are building a body that is metabolically more expensive, a body that burns more energy simply by existing. This is the physical manifestation of abundance. You are building a capacity so great that it requires more fuel, more life to sustain it. You are building a furnace, not just fanning a flame. This shift changes not just your body, but the very way you interact with the world around you. Lasting architecture. Consider the long-term result of these two different paths. A life devoted solely to endurance often leads to a body that is efficient, yes, but also fragile. As we age, the battle is not against gaining a few pounds. It is against the slow, silent decay of our foundational structures, our muscle mass and bone density. The great decline of later life is a story of sarcopenia, the loss of muscle, and osteoporosis, the loss of bone. A focus only on cardio does little to combat this inevitable slide. In fact, by signaling to the body that excess muscle is inefficient, it can inadvertently accelerate it. You can have a world-class cardiovascular system and still be too frail to pick up your grandchild, too weak to prevent a fall, too fragile to live a life of robust independence. The longevity promised by endurance becomes a shadow of what it could be. A longer life, perhaps, but one of diminishing physical freedom and capability. True longevity isn't just about adding years to life, but adding life to years. And life, in its most vibrant form, requires strength. Strength training is a direct declaration of war against this decay. It is the single most effective tool we have to build and preserve muscle mass and increase bone density. Every time you place your muscles under load, you are not just building them for today, you are making a deposit in the bank of your future self. You are literally building the architecture that will support you for the rest of your life. Muscle is not just for show, it is a metabolic organ. It is a reservoir of amino acids. It is your physical armor. It improves your body's ability to manage blood sugar, reduces systemic inflammation, and lowers your risk of countless metabolic diseases. Having more muscle mass fundamentally changes how your body works, making you a more robust and resilient human being from the inside out. When you choose to lift something heavy, you are choosing to invest in a future where you are not a victim of your own physical decline, but an active participant in your continued strength. Combining both cardio and strength training provides the most benefit for longevity, but the unique architectural and metabolic benefits of building muscle cannot be overstated. There is an aesthetic truth here as well, one that goes far beyond vanity. The physique built by cardio and the physique built by strength tell two different stories. One speaks of reduction, of being whittled down, of absence. The other speaks of addition, of being built up, of presence. A body that carries muscle is a body that wears its history of effort. It is a physical resume of every struggle, every challenge overcome. It carries a certain gravity, a substance that is felt by others. It is not about looking a certain way for the approval of others, but about inhabiting a form that is an authentic representation of the work you have put in. It is the embodiment of your discipline, your commitment, and your will. To look in the mirror and see the physical evidence of your own strength is a powerful form of self-respect. It is a daily reminder that you are a builder, a creator of your own physical reality. This visible transformation reinforces the internal one, creating a feedback loop of ever-increasing confidence and capability. This is the deeper victory that strength training offers over a simple cardio-based philosophy. It's not just about health, it's about sovereignty. It's about building a body and a mind that are not easily broken, a spirit that does not shy away from resistance. The goal is not simply to be not sick. The goal is to be powerful. The goal is to possess a level of physical capacity that allows you to engage with life on your own terms, without fear or limitation. It is the difference between surviving and dominating. It is the difference between a house that withstands the weather and a fortress that commands the landscape. The cardiovascular health aspect is crucial, and it is a piece of the puzzle, but we have mistaken that piece for the entire picture for far too long. The architecture of a truly well-lived life, the structure that will carry you through all of its seasons, is forged not in the endless miles of running, but in the crucible of resistance. It is built under the bar. The choice, then, is not really about the activity you perform in the gym. It is a reflection of the fundamental posture you choose to take towards your own life. Do you spend your days in a state of managed retreat, endlessly running from the things you fear, weakness, decay, difficulty, stress, Or do you choose to stand your ground, to face the resistance head on, to bear the weight of your own potential, and to build something real, something solid, something that lasts? The iron teaches a simple and profound truth. The resistance is not the enemy. The resistance is the path. Which part made you pause and reconsider your own approach?